6. Man Toga, SRS runway, auto thrust is loose. 80 knots, thrust set. 5500. 31. Rotate.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on? Welcome back to the channel. Finally, we get to have another live stream together. It's been over, what, 2 weeks almost? A week and a half at least. Been crazy busy, lot going on. My voice still not recovering. You can tell I was sick a little bit as well. This last trip, I just got off a long 4-day trip. Man, it was a ball buster, for lack of better words, if I can even say that. Probably not, but it was a rough 4-day trip I just got off. I was under the weather during that whole trip, but I'm feeling good now. It's just my voice is a little bit off. I got some hot coffee here. I burnt my tongue on it twice already. I'm thinking once it cools down, it'll probably even help. It'll help a little bit better once I get to drink some. But I'm excited to be here. I hope you guys are excited to be here. I have to apologize. Change the flight today. I was looking really closely at doing that PVA flight, Detroit to Boston or something in the Northeast. Guys, it's literally clear and a million. There's not a single cloud, basically, from Chicago to England. Okay, there might be some stuff over the water, but literally from Chicago to New York, the eastern seaboard, there's not a cloud in the sky. It's 12 noon. Worst possible time to fly a flight and flight sim. So I figured, hey, where is there some weather? So there's some weather over here in Portland. It's pretty cold rain. It's like 4 degrees Celsius, raining, overcast, low vis. We're going to taxi up. We're going to start up here, and we're going to fly down to the sunny skies of Northern California into San Francisco. We haven't paid California, or at least Northern California, any love in some time. So we're going to head on down there. My favorite United livery of all time, the United Battleship Gray. And speaking of, let's go and get some catering trucks to head over to the aircraft, shall we? So, your BFF is in Boston right now? Awesome. Well, good time to be in Boston, bad time to flight sim in Boston. I even bought 2 sceneries. I bought the O'Hare scenery, I bought I bought O'Hare, I bought Boston, but nah. We're going to fly this flight today. Hope you guys are well. Max, what's up? Good to see you, man. Tobias, what's up, dude? Good to see you. Says, when are you making the top 10 add-ons video? Tobias, probably tonight. Probably tonight, man. Oh, Paulo, good to see you. Joe Johnson, Jamie's in the house. Tony Johns, Mr. Santana, what's up? Good to see you. Stephen Hayner, Joseph Daniels, good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Velociraptor's in the house. Alberto D coming in with his wings. Gotta love to see that. Good to see you, Alberto. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Bo Paulo, AJ Fernari, LW stopped by. Robinson's in the house. Good to see everybody. Tyson, what's up, man? Sick AF right now. V1 stream makes it better. Dude, Tyson, I was just saying that earlier. I was sick pretty much all week. And I was flying a trip, too, which was just made it even worse. So it is what it is. Feeling juicy? Exactly. Let's go ahead and do this. What runway do you think today? I haven't looked at the wind condition yet, Tobias. We're going to check that out. We're gonna do a couple things. So we don't actually need to de-ice because the precipitation that's falling right now is still rain. It's still water. It's I don't know. We'll have to get the outside air temp. I think the last I checked was 4. We could look here at our departure METAR. So right now Portland is 120 at 13. So we'll probably depart off runway 10 left. That'll be a short taxi out. 6 miles, light rain, scattered overcast clouds. So we're going to have to use engine anti-ice on the ground, but we don't need a de-ice today because right now it is light rain. If it was you know, snow or sleeting like that, then we would have to de-ice. But I think we're going to be okay on that front. So that's good for us. Let's go ahead and get the airplane fired up, shall we? Let's go ahead and go battery switch 1 and 2, and external power comes online. We got the old school airplane today. Let's get the dome light on as well. The screens are powering up. Gotta love it. Balubo, welcome to Private Pilot, sir. Glad to have you on board. Welcome. I am gonna think, depending on how the stream goes, we might do a after party stream today in the BAE 146. So if you're a member, you'll be able to see that, but not 100% guaranteed yet. We'll see how today's stream goes, see how long it is. There are some other things I gotta take care of when I get home, but I think we might have time for a short after party stream today. Thank you for all the members who voted in the recent poll for today's aircraft too, by the way. United Wings to bring the tulip back on their liveries. You know, I didn't love the tulip, John. You know, and like, it's cool seeing it now, like retro, but it wasn't my favorite. I think they could have done better. I think Battleship Gray is still the best one. But that's, you know, I'm biased. Gino, what's going on, man? Good to see you always. Pleasure to see you, sir. Brandon, what's up, man? Thank you for your 10 months of support, my friend. Shout out to COVID for the time off. Work to catch a V1 stream. Brandon, hope you're feeling better, man. COVID can be a butt kicker for some people, so I'm sure you'll be all right. Thank you for stopping by the stream. Hope you feel better, bud. All right, looks like we got our power to the aircraft. Let's continue with our overhead flow. We'll go crew supply on, ground control on, CVR test. There we go. That's good. Then we go 1, 2, 3. Most recent shorts video. Took a little shorts video of the ADARs, doing our GPS track positioning. Strobe goes to auto, nav goes into position 1, seatbelts off, no smoking auto, arm the emergency exit lights, landing elevation is in auto, fault light, we are on a ground power. Sim looking, is the sim looking weird to you guys? That goes to Captain, by the way. No, I guess it looks good. I don't know. Fire test 1. Oh boy. Starting off already. Mr. Callie Simmer coming in with a 10 gifted. Whoa. We've got a 10 gifted subs from Callie Simmer and a 5 gifted sub from Jay Santana. Back to back to back. Where's that alert box? Okay, alert box is silenced for right now. Guys, thank you so much, Callie Simmer and Robinson, for the subscription. Oh, I'm sorry, for the membership donation. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you. Hey, if you guys got a membership, courtesy of Callie Simmer or Mr. Santana, you might be able to see some additional content today as well. So that's absolutely awesome. Thank you guys for your support. Appreciate you. You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, I do apologize for not getting more shorts videos out. I was really trying to get more shorts. I have some content. I might just post it raw data for the members. But I just, like, after I got done flying for the day, I just felt so bad. I just went to bed. So it was a long trip, man. We'll talk about it. We got a little bit of a longer flight down to San Fran. We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about something that keeps coming up in my DMs and my news feed. And the Discord as well. Jeremy Harvey brought it up recently, but he's not the only one. It's the 1,500-hour rule in response to Mentor Pilot's video. And this is a lot of strong opinions on this out there. I have my own, obviously, it's my opinion. But I actually, as much as I love Mentor Pilot and his videos, I kind of respectfully disagree with his main point of his most recent video that he made on the 1500-hour rule. We'll talk about that in cruise as well. So we got a lot to talk about today. Kyle Lewis, welcome to Private Pilot. Glad to have you on board. Welcome to the channel, my friend. All right, our init has been done. This is us, United 357, Portland, San Francisco, alternate of Sacramento. Let's go ahead and pull that in here. Oh, no, whoops, wrong button. Init request. Why don't we test cargo smoke? Max Racing, that's a great question. We don't test it on the line, at least on my operator, and I don't know why. I literally do not know why we don't test it. I think maybe it's a maintenance test function. I might have to do something with the, like if there's guys in the cargo compartment loading bags. I actually do not know why on my procedures we don't test cargo smoke. It's got to be functional, it's got to be operational, but we don't test it, at least not from a pilot standpoint. It may be tested on overnights, like, so basically every time an aircraft sits at the gate overnight, it's called a RON, or remain overnight, and maintenance will do a small RON check the fluids, check all that kind of stuff, and I would imagine that would be the time where they might do cargo smoke testing, but who knows. That's one of the great questions that when I do get back into the sim for recurrent training, I will indeed ask that question because I'm very curious myself. All right, for departure today 10 left, and we are on the Manor 1. Now, with a little bit low visibility, this would be something that we would have to consider. Oh, that's not in there. That's the wrong flight plan. That was Miami to swimwear we flew in the A310. Let's go ahead and pull our new flight plan. That's the wrong one. Velociraptor, I saw that video. Interested to hear your opinion. Yeah, for sure. We'll talk about it. We can literally debate, not debate, but we can literally talk about it for an hour, but I'll try to keep it short. I listened to the video on my drive home from the last, my last trip, and I basically had a conversation with myself, all the points I wanted to make on it, and now I've kind of forgot them, but I'm sure once I get talking about it, I'll be able to bring it back, my points of interest. But it's a very interesting topic, especially when you look at the current state of aircraft, and don't mind me while I'm kind of programming the box here as I'm chatting away, but the current state of just the aviation industry as a whole, you know, with cruise or airlines being short cruise and all that. It's a very interesting topic indeed. All right, we're on the Bodega 3 arrival into SFO. We're going to plan ILS 28 right, and on the Bodega 3, and we're coming in off the Melbeck transition. We'll insert that one right there. Fly-by-wire for the win. What's up, my friend? Good to see you, dude. Hope you're doing well. Hope Boston's treating you all right. It says 11 months of learning fly-by-wire. Love every single minute of it. Thanks to everyone. Hey, FBW. I feel like I just want to call you Mr. Roscoe because it just seems more Boston to me. But thank you for your continued support, dude. Absolutely love your support. I really enjoyed your when you were on the tugboats too, by the way. That was a lot of fun seeing those videos. I was actually in Boston this last trip. I was thinking about you when we were flying in there, but it was a short turnaround. All right. Let's see. So we have the flight plan in the box. That looks good. Let's do a quick secondary init. Oh, you know what we need to do as well? We need to get the passengers and stuff boarded, right? Because that takes a while. I'm here chatting, guys. I apologize. I feel a little bit disorganized. When's the last time we streamed? It's been a while. There's so much I want to talk about, but we have to get the airplane going. Let's request boarding. Let's do that first. Boarding requested. There we go. I have my PPL check ride in 2 weeks. It's going to be fun. Liam. Absolutely, dude. That's awesome. Let us know how you do. I'm sure you're going to absolutely crush it, my friend. Best of luck to you. And remember, the one piece of advice I tell everybody going through a check ride, especially your private pilot check ride, man. Sometimes, and I see this in students, I've seen it in students, when there's an FAA guy sitting next to you, you feel like you have to ask permission to do things in the airplane. Do not let that cross your mind at all. You are the acting PIC. If the airplane is doing something you don't want it to do, you change it. Don't accept anything less than perfection, and you're going to well exceed the expectation, and you're going to absolutely smash your practical. So best of luck to you, my friend. All right, current weather, let's see, 4 degrees. Oh, this just reminded me. So I flew, guys, my first time on the line, I flew a fully retrofitted and fully kitted out FMS 2 Release 2 Airbus with H2. So Honeywell 2, FMS 2, Release version 2, all the latest and greatest stuff that Airbus is coming out with. I've seen it in the sim. I talked about it briefly. I got to fly one on the line, and guess what? I got to fly the Angel 4 Arrival into LAX with it. And talk about VNAV being on profile. That airplane nailed every single altitude constraint exactly. It was with a 50-knot tailwind as well. It was incredible. Now, the speed, on the other hand, a little bit spicy. Had to ride some of the speed breakdown, but a great improvement in a lot of things for VNAV. So it was kind of cool to see that finally on the line. I actually showed you a picture. We had a big placard right here. It said FMS2 Release 2, because there's definitely some more stuff that happens with the airplane. If you're not kind of familiar with all the new updated stuff, I could throw you for a loop. But anyway, we got our secondary done. RadNav, nothing to hard tune. Let's do the init-B, so I can stop babbling here. Let's go ahead and do our actual weight and balance, right? Let's do that. Thoughts on the INI builds Detroit scenery, Mo Aviation. If I was gonna fly that today, but I didn't realize it's not out for beta, or it's not even out. I don't know if I'll get a beta copy or not. Either way, I will pick up the Detroit as soon as it drops. I think we have a good freeware. There's no doubt we have a good freeware at Detroit, but I think this is going to just blow this out of the park. So I cannot wait for it. I'll definitely pick it up. We will be back in the Piedmont Virtual as well when we get that new Detroit scenery. You can count on that one. All right, zero fuel weight 130.2 and 30.6. So let's do that. 130.2 and 30.6 will go right here. Block fuel on board. Had a massive fuel imbalance this last trip as well, so that's always fun. Again, doing the weird thing, not in the tip tanks, but whatever, it's on board and balanced. So let's go ahead and do that. Fuel tank pumps are coming on. We'll get the seatbelt sign on. Ding. And we have 14.1. So we'll put that in the block fuel number right here. Done. That is done. We'll get rid of the fuel page. Check. I think our flight plan is just about ready to be done. Yes, we are done there. So we've got 37 minutes extra gas. 2.2 final. We don't need this long reserve. That's why. Let's see. Let's do 0.0. 0.0. Check. And then let's do min destination 4.0. 18 minutes. Ooh, we need alternate gas. What's our alternate gas? 2.2. That's going to change things. That's going to change things here. There we go. Only got 13 minutes extra gas. So they did not give us a whole lot of gas on that. Wrong side sim. I'm going to need to speak to you, my friend. All right. Constraint mode is on both sides. No ATC. Top altitude. Today's flight is 350. Rain is falling outside. Absolutely love that. 350 is set. Everything is done here, and we are just waiting for boarding. We can come over here, check out. We'll see how these ground crew working hard at work over here. Oh, look at that shot. All right, back to the chat. What are your thoughts on the new 380 leaks and footage? Oh, looks pretty sweet, Patrifi. I'll definitely be flying that airplane, man. Let's see. I'm trying to scroll back, catch all this stuff here. Off for the holiday, start a 5-day tomorrow. Jay, yes. It's interesting. So I got the whole week off for Thanksgiving, which is awesome. Christmas, not so much. So there's this thing called unstacking in the airline world. If you have a pref bidding system, and basically, if you get unstacked, whatever you request, it basically says no. Throws you the middle finger, puts a trip on your schedule. So Christmas, I do have a trip scheduled. I'm trying to get rid of it. We'll see what happens. But I have got the whole week off for Thanksgiving, which is awesome. So got family coming into town tomorrow. We'll do another stream tomorrow. We might do a special stream on Friday. We'll see what happens. But a lot of good stuff happening. Will fly-by-wire be modeling the FMS2 release 2? That I'm not sure, Flame, and that's a good point. The aircraft I flew was a Neo that had the FMS2. Brand new Neo. Brand spanking new Neo right out of Mobile, Alabama, I believe, right? Fly-by-wire says we need non-Aerosoft 330. Yes, I agree with you, man. Flying the, I don't know, Roscoe, if you flew the INI 310, I absolutely love it. That's kind of like our first medium long-haul airliner we got in the sim. Could you imagine if we had an INI quality 330 in the sim? Absolutely would be awesome. Would love to see a high-quality 330. Paxman, am I sick? No. My voice is still recovering. I was sick on my last trip. I feel good. I feel great. I did some work outside today, worked out, so everything, I'm feeling physically good, but my voice is still recovering. Why did my, looks like our jet bridge detached there. That's interesting. Are we still boarding? I have to wait for the next message. Why did my jet bridge detach? Boarding passengers now. Alright, I'm gonna just leave it. We'll see what happens here. I think I had this bug before. We need quality 330 for X-Plane. Yeah, the one that's in there is not awesome, man. FENIX needs to do a 319, a 321. I would love to see a 319 from FENIX. Love it. Absolutely love it. GSX being GSX. Yes, it is. It looks like we're not boarding passengers, so let's do this. Let me operate jetways. Waiting for services to complete. Okay. Weird. Okay, so it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Toggle it on the FENIX iPad. I could try that. Let's see here. Ground services. There we go. Good call, brother. FENIX A320s, yeah. I think they're going to come at some point. They said they're going to be working on them. Chris says, will the V1 HQ be relocating? Chris, no, man. In a crazy whirl of events, as of right now, it is not relocating. Actually, that was another crazy situation, man. Flew out to Atlanta, looked at a house. We actually had a contract on it. We ended up backing out of that. So, as of now, the V1 HQ will be staying put. And I don't know what that buzzing is outside. You guys hear buzzing outside? Hold on. Alright, I thought it was my 3090 about to take off out of my case. It's not. Something outside. Maybe like a lawnmower or something? Who knows? You gotta do an old school carnival ops with the INI? That would be something. Will I fly the 330 Neo and X-Plane 12? No. Unfortunately, it's too far removed from being realistic to the point where it looks like a fun airplane. It looks great. It's got great modeling, got great textures, but no, dude. I'm sorry. I can't. Let's see. So the INI A310, in my opinion, is what the 330 and X-Plane should have been. You know? Like, if you had the quality of the A310 that we have in Microsoft for free, if you would have had X-Plane partner with somebody, which they obviously delivered a really good external and 3D model. I think the 330 and X-Plane default looks great. Systems, it's not even close. Which I get, they're going for a light simulation. It's a quote-unquote fun airplane, as I like to call it, but or as XP would call it. It's just not there for me. It doesn't pique my level of interest. Proper PBI for Microsoft? Oh yeah, PBI would be nice. Just resubscribe to Pilot Edge. It does make the sim more exciting, but nerve-wracking. Bill, it can for sure, man. It absolutely can. Let's go ahead and get the APU fired up. We'll go master switch 1, and also had a deferred APU my last trip, which was interesting. So, this has power. That's interesting. So when we had a deferred APU, the power to the APU was on the whole time, and I don't know why, because the switch was off. Weird. All right, here we go. We'll fire up the APU. Let's go. The INI 310 is amazing in VR, amazing on VATSIM 2. Had a great flight on the Turkey Trot event. Got a hold and it flew it perfectly. Nice, VR Sim Pilot. Yeah, I was actually going to fly the 310 today, but the members voted, and the winner of the vote was the A320. So, plus, we flew it last week a couple times. I apologize. I think there's somebody with a blower, like, right outside of my window. How does the fly-by-wire 320 compare to the FENIX? I have the fly-by-wire, but is it worth the extra money for the FENIX? Yes, Zach, in my opinion, it is worth the money for the FENIX, absolutely. Now, the fly-by-wire is a great airplane, and in fact, we need to fly it more. We might actually be flying it on one of these upcoming streams. But it's a different airplane, man. You gotta think of it as a different airplane. So the FENIX is your old-school classic 320, and your Neo, your fly-by-wire Neo is a brand new 320 Neo. Just look at it that way, because they are different. They're different airplanes. That outside noise is really, really annoying. Alright, let's run a speed select here, and then we'll prepare for boarding. Let's get our current, latest, and greatest. So we're going to take off of 10 left today. It is wet. We'll sync the final load sheet. We'll do a Toga takeoff. Anti-ice is going to be on engine. Okay, and those are our weights. We'll sync the live weather and we'll calculate that. What do we got today? We have 17, 40, 40, flap 1. Let's do that. 17, 40, 40. 117, 140, 140, flap 1, down 0.3 on the trim. That is good. Let's go up to the overhead. Let's get our beacon light on. Disconnect from external power. We'll turn on the APU bleed. Get some air conditioning in here. We'll go over to the ground services page. We'll pull the chocks and we'll pull the GPU. And we're about ready to go. What is the highest grid screaming when you board the aircraft? Is it the PAX or APU? PAX. That loud whine outside. Kind of hear it from here. Right there, you hear it kick up? That was perfect timing. How sweet was that? That's the PAX spinning up. So the PAX are, what's the name when you have a, anyway, they stand for PAX, for pneumatic air cycle kit. Like the name, not a metaphor. Whatever. But yeah, PAX are pneumatic air cycle kits. So what's happening is almost like a turbocharger, almost like a reverse turbocharger, really. But that spin-up screaming sound, that is the inside of the PAX are actually spinning up to speed, and you hear it whine. We are not de-icing today, so acronym. Thank you. Jeez. So again, let's do some learning. If you take away anything from this stream, this is a hard concept to grasp for a lot of people who aren't classically trained in aviation, so I always reinforce it here on stream. The only time you need anti-ice or to get de-iced is if you're in active icing conditions and or there's ice on your airplane. So there's no ice on the airplane, it's above freezing. We know it's above freezing because we are ATIS and we can see right here on the ECAM it's +4. Now there is precipitation. So if we were in flight, this would be considered an icing condition, but on the ground it is not. However, when we talk about our engines, after we start engines, what's going to happen? We're going to have a rapid increase of velocity right here going into the engines, right? Because it's sucking air in. So with an increase of velocity comes what? A decrease in temperature. So even though it's +4 outside, the engine inlets and the T2 probes and everything right here inside this cowling are going to be subjected to below freezing temperatures with visible moisture such as rain and the puddles on the ground. So for that reason, after engine start, we will turn on the engine anti-ice. Wing anti-ice is not used on the ground, but we're going to use, and we wouldn't need it anyway because there's not enough airflow over the wings while we're taxiing to create an icing condition. But on the ground, the engine inlets themselves, because of the increase of velocity, air going in, the decrease of temperature, could accumulate ice. So we're going to go ahead and turn on our engine anti-ice after pushback. We can also go ahead and dim the cabin as well. So let's go back here. Cabin lights can come off. That is good. We'll go back to my flight. Everything else is done. We have mountainous terrain, so we'll go terrain on ND here. That is good. Down 5350, 30-3. Windows, doors, and slides. Close and arm. Beacon on. Thrust lever is idle. Parking brake is on. Before start, checklist is complete. Let's prepare for pushback and departure. I'm on VATSIM, but there's nobody on today, but we will get on Unicom as well. That's good call there. Prepare for push and departure. Do I request de-icing treatment? No, we do not need de-icing today. So what the ground crew is asking, though, is because there is icing conditions, which there's not really. He doesn't want us to start engines during the pushback. All right, we can go ahead and get our Throttletek cans on. Chaos. ASS acronym seriously suck, indeed. Flight Simmer, what's up, man? Says, do you need to charge the brake accumulator pressure into the green with the yellow electric pump as a pilot, or is that a maintenance screw job when they first check it over for the day? No, you need to do it, but typically I don't really do it very often. Every now and then you get an old airplane that doesn't have a good accumulator. Throw the beacon light on, make sure there's nobody downstairs, and charge it. But what I'll do here is, if this is out of the green, like right now, I will charge this before I set the brakes, if that makes sense. So we'll check that after pushback. Ooh, there's an unknighted right there. What temp for engine de-ice? +10, -10. on the ground with visible moisture. So we are at +4, so we are within that window, and there is visible moisture outside. All right, we're not going to bug our V-speeds over here because that just takes too long, but everything else looks good. 3003, 1017 is set. We didn't forget anything. Doors and windows are closed and locked. Beautiful. Let's come over here, and we need to go, let's get this right. We need to go nose right, tail left. Brakes release, clear to push. Roger. Do you extend flaps at different times on the approach? Yes, you extend them when you are below the flap extend speed. Yeah, that rain effect looks so good on the window. Alaska's pushing back, money bags.
Captain 402 going around.
Oh, somebody's going around. Someone can't shoot an ILS approach today. Either that or they need to prepare for a Cat 3. Get all the way down. Better pushback French plane needs a tug? Yes, I agree.
Taxiing runway 10 left for departure, Portland.
Gotta love the actual tug down there. Not a bad pushback. Not a bad pushback, GSX. Brakes are set. Clear to disconnect. So with the brakes set, look at our accumulator. So I'd come up here and go electric pump on, and that should charge it. Here it comes. Done. Alright. Let's go ahead and start engine 1. Ignition start, switch to ignition start. We have bleed pressure. Enjoy the startup sounds.
Unlocking gear. Tow truck disconnected. Bypass bin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Totally blocked United. My bad, dude. Do you always extend the flaps when you pass the flap bug, or there's reasons you wouldn't fuel burn with flaps out? Aaron, sometimes, depending. Like, if you're tight on fuel, I might delay it a little bit, but in a perfect world, you shouldn't be in that situation anyway. So, kind of depends on, like, how slow are you getting past the VFE bug, you know? Like, if I'm going to be below green dot for flaps 1, then yeah, I'm going to stick flaps 1 out. Let's go ahead and start 2. But if I, if I'm going to fly around maybe 3 or 4 knots above green dot, but I'm below flap extend speed, nah, I'll leave it. I'll leave the flaps up. Remember, it's all about trying to meet that window, 2,000 feet, flaps 2, 180. So if you can hit that, you're going to be solid. But after that, like as far as extending flaps 3 and full, I'd say 90% of the time it's pretty much VFE next minus 10 knots if that next notch of flaps is coming out. Unless it's something other than a standard 3 degree. You know, if you got a little bit steeper approach path, you might come in flaps 3 initially, or you may go flaps 3 before putting the gear down. So on a typical 3 degree slope, after you hit the 2,000 foot mark, they come out on schedule. Sounds like we got 2 good starts, just about. Joe Plains, what's up, man? Finally made it to one of these lives. Welcome, man. Glad to have you on board. That's going back to normal. All right, so engine anti-ice 1 and 2 will come on. Watch your N1s. Look at that. Increase the idle modulation for increased demand. Absolutely love to see that. APU bleed can come off. Master switch can come off. I forgot to do my regular flow. That's going to arm you. And we're doing a flaps 1, so let's extend you. That is done. That is done. Everything else is good there. Let's go ahead and do taxi that on. Portland traffic, United 357, going to taxi 10 on Portland. Let's do it. Down point 3. Check. Trying to find where my throttles are. There they are. We'll make the right turn here. Does a startup sound close to real life? I believe it's close. Bill, it's very, very close. Very close. It's very good.
Portland traffic, Alaska 874, push start out of Charlie 11 on Tango.
After flying the 310 non-stop, LCD screens feel like a cheat. Love the old CRTs. I agree with you, Matt. It is nice to see the old CRTs on that 310, for sure. We are out of here. All right, short taxi out. We're going to do all of our checks right here. Flight control, full up, full down, neutral, full left, full right, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral, XP72. That's why we do flight control checks. I was watching XP stream the other day, or yesterday. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago. He's in a 321. Did a flight control check. They did not check out. He did not see that they weren't checking out. Ended up putting one in the drink. So, epic stream though. He fixed it. It was a control binding bug. But if you rewind the stream, it's pretty cool because you can actually see the flight controls were not pitching up. So that's why we do our checks. That's why we do our checks. All right. Brakes are set. Let's go ahead and turn this off just for a second here. We still need a warm-up time. We'll do our auto brakes max. Takeoff config checked. That looks good. We'll go radar. PWS is the auto. TCAS, TARA, that goes on. And everything else looks good. How is our temps here? Oh yeah, we're running one. Portland traffic, 357 going to depart 10 left Portland. Let's do this. Let's light it up. Oops. Alright, final looks clear. Don't see anybody busting out of the clouds, so that's good. Bellini, what's going on? Good to see you. Thank you for the continued support. What up, my friend? Hope family's doing well. We are doing well indeed, my friend. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you on, my friend. Oh, look at that overshoot of a lineup. Rip. Used to fly on 321s all week.
Portland traffic, United 693, docking 10 left, via Kilo and Alpha.
Oh, how good does that look? How good does that look? Smash the like button for that lineup. Look at the reflecting on the water reflection there. My goodness me. C2A.
Takeoff config not passed. Need a refreshed gin and tonic back here first.
C2A, thank you for the support, my friend. Appreciate you. We'll get you that as soon as we clean up after takeoff. How's that? Smash that like button. Yoga's in chat. Spool them up 50%. Yoga. Love it. Manitoga SRS nav. Auto thrust is blue. Here we go. Thrust set. 100 knots.
Open
Check.
track, Alaska 452, line up 10 left.
V1. Rotate. Here we go. Positive rate. Gear up. Nav. Fly with. Gosh, that looks good. Not much to see. We're right in the clouds, so let's fly the airplane.
Come on, Captain 402, off runway 10 right.
Alberto D. Bank angle check. Right back at you, my friend. Thank you so much for that $5 bank angle check, dude. Appreciate your support. Alright, let's go ahead and reduce. Thrust climb, nav. Never disarm the spoilers there. Man, that we went right into a 27 knot crosswind. How good does that look, though? Sorry for the headphone users there, Xander. Gosh, that looks good. You know what's really good about this sim is, if you guys notice,
Important traffic, Alaska 452, signal 10 left.
on takeoff there, that was a very realistic simulation and visual depiction of rain on the windshield. You notice I didn't use the wipers at all. In real life, I'm not going to use wipers on takeoff either, unless it's like super heavy initially, but I don't know if I've ever used wipers on takeoffs, because once you hit about 100 knots, you have enough speed over the window to which it's bleeding off the window, and your visibility is less restricted without the wipers on than you would if you would have turned them on. So it's just really cool to see that, because initially, like, oh man, is he going to turn the wipers on? Now, as soon as you hit 80, 100 knots, man, you got enough airflow over the windscreen, you can see right down the center line. Remember, looking at that far end, don't want to look at those runway stripes right off the nose because you get disoriented. Let's go flap 0 after takeoff checklist. We got a nice bank angle check to the right coming up here. All right, so let's go ahead. We're in a temperature inversion. You see that? Plus 13°C. So theoretically, we don't even need any engine anti-ice right now. But I have been hearing some horror stories about Sim Update 11 and the icing model. So I'm going to leave the engine anti-ice on, which is incorrect technically. But there's a couple things I'm considering. One, this is a temperature inversion. I know this is going to come down here any minute. Two, the performance that it's taking from the airplane is not affecting the performance of the departure procedure at all. So I have enough performance to spare. I'm not concerned about it. I'm taking the more conservative option by leaving it on, even though we are slightly outside of the anti-ice, or yeah, the engine anti-ice threshold that we would use it. Plus 14, so we're sitting at a nice temperature inversion. Here's the bank angle check to the right. We're going to get bright as we go above the clouds here, so let's get that down. Look at that breakout. Actually, let's watch the breakout in full force. Hey. Those clouds didn't look that good there. They changed the clouds again. They were looking so good before. These look pretty good. Man, this looks so good. Yeah, this is real weather. Real weather, Mauricio. Oop, overturned there, looking at the chat. Gosh, it just... I guess maybe they're taking longer to load in, but once they load in, they look great. Yeah, once they load in, they look really good. Alright, we're going to go through 10,000. You can see the temperature has dropped now +9, so now we would be in the engine anti-ice window. And since we're right going through the tops here, let's just leave it on. That way you don't have to keep toggling it on and off. Oh man, this departure is stunning to fly out of here through these clouds. Cloud surfing departure. I mean, if you didn't hit the like button for the takeoff, you got to hit the like button for the cloud surfing departure out of here. Do a forward call. Little scrapes from the windshield wiper. Oh, that looks so good. I need to do XP's view right here. I feel like I'm watching a Just Planes video on YouTube. This is real life. This is literally real life. Is this not real life? Hold on. Let me pinch myself. Good night. Alright, let's go ahead and turn the autopilot on, because this is too incredible to watch. Let's go ahead and get it right on track here. Hand the airplane a nice airplane, or hand the autopilot a nicely positioned airplane so it doesn't have to do anything crazy. We're on the command bars there, a little left turn. Autopilot 1 engaged. Full screen cam coming up, and I don't know if we should watch on a wing view, or, oh my word, are you kidding me? I don't even know what to say. Let's just have a moment of silence for X-Plane 12. Just kidding, don't get mad at me in the comments. Just kidding. But if you're a member, we do have an X-Plane emoji. Matt Warren, thank you for the $2 super chat, my friend. It says, smoked turkey, deep fried, or traditional? You know, I have never had a deep fried turkey, Matt. I've heard they're really, really good. You know what? I'm either gonna smoke it, or I might try a deep fried one this year. But I think I'm gonna smoke it. I think this one we're having a little bit smaller of a turkey, so it could be deep friable, but I don't have the equipment for that, and I always hear bad stories of them exploding. So I think I'm gonna stay with the smoked turkey this year. Absolutely love it. Graphics so nice, I actually reached for my sunglasses during breakout. You instantly regretting that as soon as you said it. I know, Patrifi, as soon as I said it. Look, a lot of stuff on this channel is tongue-in-cheek. Y'all know that by now, especially if you're a member or a fan of the channel. Wow, that wind noise is ripping. Let's go back here so we don't have to listen to that. You know, sometimes I like to stir the pot a little bit, right? I mean, how boring would it be if I just conformed to everybody's opinions? Look, I'll be honest with you, man. I've seen X-Plane 12 videos that look good. Like, you can make that sim look good. I'm just too lazy to put in the work. Imagine this in VR. I hear you, man. I'd be scared. Chris Levin, thank you for the 25 months, my friend. He says, if you want, I can take your shift on Christmas. Chris, that'd be sweet, man. Wouldn't mind that at all. It's not a bad trip, so it actually, like, I get back early the day after Christmas on Monday. I get back at like 9 a.m., so we could always celebrate Christmas the day after Christmas, but I don't know. It's like, there's like a Cancun in there or something. But it's not a terrible trip, it's just the fact that it's over Christmas. VR stream when? Have you buyed a Portland Airport? Yes, I did. Tobias, so that was the Flight Beam, guys, right? That's the Flight Beam one. So the Flight Beam Portland is what you saw there on the departure, and it's fantastic. Absolutely love the Flight Beam Portland Airport. I loved it in X-Plane, and I love it in Microsoft. They did a great job with it. All right, so we're well above the icing. We'll go ahead and get our engine anti-ice off now. We're at a 10. We're actually getting close to 18. We're close enough. Let's go ahead and set standard. STDs for you, me, and the jump seater, 1, 2, and 3. Just leave that on 1017, that's fine. And let's do, I really like this view, especially in this sim. Like, just engross yourself in a departure here on this bank as we turn out over these cumulonimbus, well, actually, this stratiform cumulus clouds. That doesn't make sense. Overcast skies. Flight Beam is a go. They're pretty good, man. But I gotta tell you, that INI Detroit looks fantastic. Absolutely looks fantastic. Lauren says, my birthday is the day after. Celebrate that. We can do it, Lauren. Maybe in a VAA. Ooh. I couldn't imagine flying on a monitor after years in VR. Yeah, see, I've heard that, and that's scary to me, because I know if I start the VR trip, then it would be the end of the channel as we know it. And here's the thing, though. Like, I've watched some streams in VR, and they just don't look as good when you watch a true VR stream. So it may be awesome for yourself, but as far as me and a content creator, I don't think it's in the best interest of the channel. Look at these little range shafts down here, too, under this layer. Oh, my word. Stratocumulus. Thank you, Anthony, too. I'll be in Mexico for Christmas, too, celebrating with the in-laws. Nice, Tyson. Yeah, so Christmas Day, I actually do a turn into Cancun. Let me double check. I think it's Cancun. Let's see here. Yeah, Cancun, man. Cancun on Christmas Day. Christmas morning, fly down there. Back up, end up, where do we end that day? We end Christmas in Baltimore, so technically my Christmas dinner will be at Baltimore. Maybe I'll get some crab cakes. If I don't get shot. Anthony Teal, former meteorologist. Awesome, man. I'd like I&I more if their sceneries didn't make the GPU sound like a jet engine. It's true. It definitely puts some strain on it. I'll be flying United in January, but probably is going to be a 739. They only use Boeing for Santiago, Dominican. Ah, I wonder if my buddy will be flying on that trip. I got a buddy on the 7.3. Got two really good friends from flight school on the 7.3. All right, we'll get the terrain mode off. Everything else looks good. I'm going to turn the sim down even a little bit further here. Let's do a quick outside view, shall we? Wow. Battleship gray. I still think the clouds look better from the inside view. How's that? Let's enjoy this for a minute. Making cream cheese for Thanksgiving. Jeremy, yes, indeed. Of course, my friend. I actually made some Did I make some? When did I make some? On Sunday. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah, I made some on Sunday. I made some smoked cream cheese on Sunday as a practice. I'm trying a new rub, Jeremy. I made my own rub now. It's a custom rub. So I love coffee, and there's coffee rubs for meat that have been around for a while. Almost every brand makes a rendition of a coffee rub. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to make my own coffee rub. So I did kind of like a coffee brown sugar rub specifically for the cream cheese. And it was delightful, my friend. Delightful. So I'm going to be doing that for family on Thanksgiving. When can we expect a European tour? Bone King 1, you know, we already did a full send Euro tour, but we'll be back. You know, we'll be back. We might do some European flying here in a little bit. I gotta broaden my horizons in Europe, like knowing where to go, find the good airports and stuff, you know. But yeah, we'll hop back there. This is a 320. Can you explain on why you differently for taxiing the de-ice pad as opposed to staying at the gate to de-ice? Anthony, yes. So depending on the airplane, and basically what Anthony's asking is like, when you need to get de-iced, what do you do differently when you go into the de-ice pad? Now that can vary greatly on two things: your SOPs and or the airframe that you're flying. So my last airline, when you went to the de-ice pad, you fully configured. Did you fully configure? No, I think you didn't configure at all. And in my current airline, you do configure, and then you taxi to the de-ice pad. So, and that's also an airplane thing. So it can depend. It can go either way on that. I wouldn't say as far as SimWorld, there's no right or wrong if you want to taxi out fully configured and go to the de-ice pad. Some airplanes may want you to de-ice not configured, but that doesn't seem to make sense to me because why would you? Maybe you configure before you get sprayed, because you wouldn't want to get sprayed and then extend the flaps, because now your flaps, especially depending on the airframe you're flying, they may not have any of the glycol on them to prevent ice accumulation, so that doesn't really make sense. I think maybe you taxi to the pad and then you configured in the pad for takeoff and then you got sprayed. But again, it's semantics at that point. That'll be greatly driven by your company's ops and by the airframe. Have I done EKVG? I have not, Daniel. I have not. I have a big question. Is it worth it to buy airports if you have a mid-PC or not? What are your thoughts? Tobias, yes, I think so. I think airports are your best bet. Now, what you can do Tobias, is if you're going to be, you buy an airport that's frame heavy, turn down your settings just for when you're at the airport. Because if the airport's a quality airport, you don't need everything maxed out there at the gate because you're not looking around at everything else. You're just at the airport. So turn down, especially the terrain level of detail in your settings is the biggest quick adjustment to FPS. Like if you go from 250 to 150, you'll get almost 10 frames right there. So when you're on the ground at the airport, knock that sucker down to like 80 or 50 even, you know, and you'll get some extra performance around the ground. And then after takeoff, if you want, bump it up. So that terrain level of distance is a big one. Flightbeam is running a Black Friday sale. Well, there you go. Not configured, flaps not exposed. I can see the reasoning. Yeah. Right, might be they don't configure the 7.3 while taxiing. Yeah. Alex, yeah, got a couple different types, man. Some citation stuff, turboprop, and Embraers. Do you shut down engines on the pad or just close the bleeds packs? Anthony, you'll close the bleeds and packs. Which so, and I don't know, here's the thing, maybe you guys know in chat. So on that INI Detroit video, that pre-release, this just looks too good not to be here in a cockpit view for a minute. So on the INI Detroit video, they showed de-icing happening at a pad, which I thought was very interesting. I wonder if there's a way to go and get de-iced, because that would be a good stream to have too, like over there, show you how it works in Detroit. The amount of hours I spent in the Detroit de-ice pad when I worked for my regional airline is probably almost as much as you guys have sim time, some of you. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in the Detroit de-ice pad because it's always full, especially if you're not on the Delta side, because if you're not Delta at Detroit, you're basically second-class citizens. So going to the de-ice pad on the north side is it can be an absolute cluster. And I spent a lot of time there de-icing Embraers in that pad. Did you see all the work Working Title is doing with the avionics? I haven't, Big Cat. I need to be more in tune with Working Title, because you're not the first one that said Working Title is really good. Some fluids have actually failed because of the slope of flaps extended. Ooh, there you go. So Boeing pilot says in the 737 we configure the flaps at the holding point with no delay expected. Very interesting. So he's saying basically go get sprayed, and then right before takeoff you deploy the flaps, and I guess you do your takeoff config check and roll out. So there you go. There's a perfect example of either an SOP or an airframe driven operation for de-icing. I do wish FENIX would get off the scratches of the windscreen or have an option. Really? You don't like them? Yeah, I mean, I think it adds to the airplane. This happens when you run the wipers on a dry windshield. A lot of airplanes have it. A lot of airplanes have that, unfortunately. 1,500-hour discussion. Yes, we're going to do that. Let's bring that topic up. So, I wish I could, like, do a reacts video to that. Do you know if the transition to E2 jets from Embraer is a big compared to the normal 190s? I do not know, Danny, unfortunately. I only flew the 190s, 175s. I can't imagine it's much different. You're talking about like the Legacy or the actual E2 or the E2 jets from Embraer? I don't know. It might be a different type altogether. Zilla, thank you for the $2 super chat, man. You know what? I guess I could, Chaos, right? I could pull his video up and stop and pause it. We'll do that. We'll do that at cruise. We've got to make sure Jeremy Harvey's here for that, too. Because then I'll stop and pause it. I mean, I'm obviously not trying to take his work. I just want to... It'd be a good discussion. It'd definitely be a good discussion. I'm not going to, it's not like I'm re-uploading it as my own content. He does a lot of good videos. He really does. The Mentor pilot. He does some great, and he does really good editing. He spends, I don't know if he does his own editing or if he has an editing team, but the editing in his videos are fantastic. Do we stay at 22,000? Leo, what does it say? We're at 22. Is the overlay stuck? We should be at 31.8. We're going up to 35 for cruise today. We're going up to 35 for cruise. We got 415 miles. Everything else is looking good here. How are my cabin temps? Yeah, they're fine. Everything looks good. Fuel. Interesting that we have fuel go out into the tip tanks. That's from the return line. What? So that's modeled? You gotta be kidding me. So I don't even remember. I'd have to look in my book for the fuel system. So because we had a bug on the ground where only our wing tanks had fuel and not the tip tanks, I believe fuel can, after, I'd have to look it up. Unless it was expansion that pushed it into the I don't know. I'd have to look that up. I don't know if that's right or wrong, but that's crazy. All right. We'll come back to that later. 2,000 feet to go. Overlay is frozen again? I wonder why it's doing that. I don't know why the overlay keeps doing that. Well, I'll tell you, we'll just get rid of it. How's that? Mentor pilot's from Ryanair? Is he? If that fuel is from the fuel return line, shouldn't it be warmer than the inside tank? Chaos. I don't know if it's from the return, though, because I think the fuel return comes back to the wing tank. That's why I don't... That's initially what I thought, Chaos. I thought, oh, well, that would be fuel return if it's over 1550 pounds. But, you know what? I got my iPad here. Let me pull up the fuel system. Let me pull up the... I gotta look this up. I don't even remember. This is like some real depth stuff here. Because I'm pretty sure that fuel return line goes into the wing tank. That's how you technically cross feed or balance fuel. So let me actually pull this up here. Let's go to where would I find that? I gotta go to like the systems, like the Airbus system manual, not the abbreviated one. Let's see here. Let's go here. Airbus operating manual. Not that one. This one. Fuel. Description and tanks. Okay, so vent tank. So that's what it is. Let's look at this so we don't get distracted here. Okay, so fuel is stored in the wings. In the center section, the wings have outer tanks, blah, blah. There is a vent surge tank outboard the outer tank in each wing. When the aircraft has been refueled to max capacity, the fuel can expand by 2%, blah, 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 without spilling. There is an overprotector in each vent. Yes, we know that. That's 1,000 feet to level off, which that wouldn't be going off with the autopilot on. So that's a bug. That's a new bug, because it never used to do that. So with the autopilot on, the altitude alert should not go off. All right, we're leveling at 32. Let's continue reading about this fuel here real quick. Unusable fuel, no, that's not there. A321, no, we're in a 320. Engine feed for the 320. Main fuel pistons, inner tanks, engines, that's like that. Supplies fuel from the center tank, inner wing tanks, the engines, 6 main fuel pumps, I know. How would it get to the tip tanks, though? Inner tank transfer valves, sprint fuel, cross feed valve. I'm reading. Sorry, I'm not trying to be quiet here, but I'm deep inside the manuals here. So there's the return, inner tank, refuel valve, sequencing valves. Fuel feed sequence. Center tank, inner tank's empty. Is on 1650 pounder. Fuel transfers to the inner tank. The center tank feeds 2 engines. I know that. Blah blah blah. The center tank pump stops at approximately 1100. From outer to inner tanks. Center tank transfer. Well, it's going up, which is interesting. So, let me come back out here for a second. I don't see anything. It wouldn't be on the 321 APU feed. Fuel recirculation system. To the outer fuel tank. Fuel return, if the outer tank... So the FENIX controls fuel return. If the outer tank is already full, the fuel overflows to the inner tank through a spill pipe. If the center tank is feeding, which it's not, the wing tank will tend to overfill and the system automatically sets center tank pump off when the inner tank is full. It's not. The wing tank pumps feed until engines have used 1,100 pounds of fuel. Some of the fuel supplied to each engine goes from the high-pressure fuel line in that engine through the IDG heat exchanger to the fuel return valve and to the outer tank. This operation ensures the IDG cooling when oil temperature is at low engine power. But the outer wing tank, would that be? I guess it is. Yeah, it's from the IDG fuel return. The unused fuel from the IDG goes through and back out, and for some reason it goes in through the inner tanks. So I guess it is properly simulated, but theoretically it would be warmer, I think. I've never seen that though in real life, because normally these are always full on the ground, right? So once these dump into the wing tanks, there you go. But interesting. All right, what do we have over here? Let's go receive messages. This company, United Ops. We were not delayed. Enough of you. All right. How are we looking? 350. We got 358 miles to go. Everything is calm, cool, and collected. Seatbelt sign coming off. Let's go back here. I don't know CFM fuel burn at 75 minutes, but it feels like they still haven't got the fuel quite right. 80, 90 pounds a minute. What's that? That's at an hour. Yeah, Chaos. If it's used to cool the IDG, I would expect it to be warmer. Exactly, Chaos. I think it would be warmer, but I'd have to look. I'd have to look at the real airplane and see what the temps would be. Yeah, Roscoe, so the fuel burn is definitely off a little bit still. That's because the engine model is not their own. Remember, they decided to tweak that. So this is very much a Neo fuel burn here, 2,300 pounds an hour. This is very much a Neo. If we were in an IE up here at 80 Mach, we'd be burning probably 2,800 pounds, maybe 2,900 pounds an hour. But this looks like it's kind of right in there between a Neo and a CEO, but they had to tweak that multiple times just because of the engine model. They said when they have their own engine model, it's going to be a little bit different. So, can you use the runway turn-off light while taxiing? Yes, indeed. It actually helps illuminate out to the sides a little bit better so you can see those runway signs, especially if they're unlit. Any tips for better ground markings and crew quality? Because I got GSX. Any tips for better ground markings and crew quality? Tobias, I'm not sure, man. I'm not sure what you mean by that, unfortunately. GSX isn't going to change the ground markings. It's not going to change that. That's a scenery thing. UAL Ops. Yeah, about that contract. Indeed, dude. Indeed. All right, let's I feel like we need a longer flight for this, but what the hell? Let's do it. I'm going to try this. I'm going to pull up a second screen here. Go here, close that. YouTube.
What could cause a...
Whoop. Wait, where's the video? Did he take it down? Oh no, there it is. Oh, it's on Mentor now. There we go.
In the United States...
I feel like, let's see. I feel like I should, maybe I shouldn't do this. I shared Mentor's video with other U.S. pilots and they didn't like it, Jeremy. All right, let's get into this. If we overfly our destination, screw it. Who cares? Because this is a really important topic, and I really think we should go over this. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that want to fly airplanes, and some of you have different opinions on this. And look, I have been on both sides of this video that we're going to talk about, or of the rule. Like, I've been outside of the 1,500-hour rule, looking in, albeit barely. Actually, it didn't really apply to me. I'm trying to think now. When did the 1,500 rule come out? That was after Colgan. So it was close, but I was already on track to have more than 1,500 hours anyway, if I didn't at the time. But then now looking back at my career, and I can tell you with guys that I've flown with and the experiences, I have a very different opinion. So it's important. This is a very important discussion. I'm going to pull it up for you here too. So let's do this. Get out the chrome and popcorn. I know. So we're not going to play the whole video. Obviously, we're just going to go through it in little tidbits because I don't want to get a copyright strike. It's obviously this is not my video. This is all Mentor. It's on the Mentor Now channel, which I actually highly recommend you check out because he brings up he has some really good videos in here. If we overfly it, screw, we're going to San Diego. Exactly. So let's go ahead. Let's listen to Mentor pilot say in here just for a few seconds, and then we'll continue on. We're going to kind of skip through it, and then I'm going to give you my opinion, but just so you get Mentor's idea.
States today, most new pilots need a minimum of 1,500 hours before they can apply for a job within an airline. Some interest groups out there are saying that this 1,500-hour rule means choosing quality over quantity.
All right, let's stop right there. Quality over quantity. Now, that is a very that's a very broad generalization of like what you're trying to achieve with this rule, but the fact of the matter is you need to have let's just continue. We'll come back
implying that allowing more pilots through without this rule would risk lowering the quality of pilots in general.
Lower quality in pilots in general. So if you look at the, I don't know. Yeah, maybe we shouldn't watch it on there. I got a bad vibe from that. I would watch out with this. Yeah, I don't want to play it on top of that either. Yeah, I was thinking that too while he was talking. All right, we'll just go over it basically. So the whole point of the 1,500-hour rule to get pilots with more experience to the airlines before it was what, 250 hours? I think it was 250 hours for a commercial license. So I'm trying to remember what Mentor's pilot main point at the end was, but you could squash this whole debate because people want to say that, well, you need the experience or you don't need the experience because you can have talented people with less time. The problem is it's not necessarily the people themselves that want to be pilots or don't want to be pilots. A lot of it is financial, right? So in order to take the financial risk to become a pilot, you have to, in the US, go through a lot of financial hardship to get to where you want to be. Why is that? Okay, that I think is the fundamental problem in the beginning, because I'm going to start with this: pay them and they will come. All right, there is no reason a regional pilot flying large equipment, small equipment, depending on what they're flying, could be flying Embraer 170s or the CRJs, obviously smaller than a 7.3, but you look at airplanes like the Delta 717, right? So that's basically a regional jet. The Embraer 190 is basically a regional jet. It's got regional in the name, but that was operated by mainline. So the problem is not the fact that it's the people that want to get there or not. It's the fact that it's so expensive to get to the airlines, and when you get there, you don't make any money. There is no reason that a first officer should be making literally an eighth or a tenth of the pay as a mainline pilot flying to the same airports, and the regional guy is doing it more times a day in more weather, more consistently throughout his schedule. So to me, that is one of the biggest problems when we start talking about this. Because if you're like, okay, I'm going to go down the financial hardship of becoming a pilot, but once I make it to the commercial level, I'll be able to pay off my loans, or whatever within the first year. That would be totally different. Now, in today's market, It is different because regionals are finally starting to realize this. Piedmont has 100K signing bonus right now, 100K signing bonus to come on. That's unheard of. When I first started flying regional flying, I made less than like 24 grand my first year. 24 less, and that was before, I think that's 24 grand before taxes. Okay, 24 grand before taxes flying Embraer 190s and 170s, but I was mostly flying the 190s. Meanwhile, my counterpart flying a 737 is making 250, right, per year, 250K. So you think about that aspect. That initially is what's going to start this huge, like, can I do it or can I not do it? Because not only do you need to get approved for financial help out of the gate, but once you get there, it's going to take years to pay off the loans that you've already accumulated to get your training done. I didn't pay off my loans until I was almost 30 years old, and I started flying when I was on my 13th birthday, and I say that gingerly. That was my first flight, but I had all my stuff done 16, 17, 18 years old. I didn't pay off my loans until I was almost 30 years old. So that, number one, shouldn't exist. Pay them and they will come. There'll be no shortage. Pay them and they will come. I promise you. All right? And this is speaking to the United States, really, here. So you'd make more at a local supermarket. Flame, exactly right. So now let's talk about, with a financial part aside, we'll look at, does it actually make a difference when you have 1,500 hours versus 250 hours? Now, I'm gonna tell you there are exceptions to this rule. So I have flown with phenomenal pilots, aviators who have phenomenal stick skills with low time. I have also flown with terrible aviators who have terrible stick skills and they have a lot of flight time. All right? So I've flown and seen both. But I will tell you, that is not the norm. That is more like an exception than a true norm. Okay, that's an exception. In the majority of pilots I fly with, the more experience one has had, and I'm not talking about just at the commercial level flying 320s around. I'm talking about their experience throughout their career, whether they flew cargo, whether they flew as an instructor, whatever it may be. I can tell you that the pilots who've had a more diverse and have a more, just basically a fuller background, generally are better pilots than those who we're seeing now in today's world, which I've flown with. Heck, my last guy I flew with he barely had enough time to be sitting in the right seat. Good aviator though, right? Good aviator, exception to the rule, not the norm. Matter of fact, when I saw his employee number on my trip, I told my wife, I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to suck. Because that means I got to do it. I basically have to take on the role of another training captain to teach this guy up to speed, right? So there is an exception on both sides of the rule, and the norm, however, is the more experience you have. I've seen traditionally better pilots come from it. Now, a big point that Mentor Pilot makes during this video, and I think we're going to have to do a full reacts video to this, but one of the other points he makes is that the experience that you get to 1,500 hours doesn't mean anything, essentially. Like, what does it matter if you go banner tow? I got to tell you, he's not wrong and he's not right. Like, how much do you learn from flying jumpers all day long? You take off from one airport, you fly up to 16, 14,000 feet, whatever it is. The guys jump out and then you land. You take off and you land. Well, you get a hell of a lot of experience in the traffic pattern and landing and taking off, but how much do you actually gain from that? So there is a point that is semi-valid. However, in the U.S., there is a large market for pilots to gain experience, whether it is a combination of banner towing, flying jumpers, flying cargo, doing highway patrol, things of that nature. The more diverse background you have, the better it is going to be when you hit your 1,500 hours, which is pretty self-explanatory. most of the guys that do their flight time building, I would say the majority come from one of two things in the U.S. It's either they flew freight at a 135 operator or even a Part 91 operator flying cargo, which actually I don't think you can fly cargo 91, so 135 operator, or they were instructors. Now, the best pilots, in my opinion, are those who flew freight, more specifically single pilot freight. Come back to that in a second. The pilots who build time flight instructing. The flight instructors who build up to 1,500 hours, I think their experience level caps probably around that 800 to 1,000 hour mark. All right? So I was an instructor. I've got over 1,000 hours instructing in 172s and Seminoles and Arrows and all that stuff. So you do learn, but at the end of the day, instructing is about teaching. And when you're teaching somebody, what do I always say? When you want to talk about a subject or teach a subject, you need to know at least 3 times more of that subject than what you're teaching. So when you're teaching basics of flight, stalls, stall recognition, icing conditions, power off scenarios, when you're teaching that over and over, you are really ingraining a knowledge base to yourself and a good fundamental baseline for your own experience as you move forward. Okay. Flame says, personally, I think 750 hours is a sweet spot for experience. You know, I'm not saying that the rule is perfect, and I'm not saying that the rule is great. I think at this point, everybody knows that the 1,500-hour rule is based on 0 factual data, right? It's basically an emotional rule that was put into place. But I can tell you, with its existence, it does weed out some, not all, does weed out some pilots that really shouldn't be sitting in the cockpit of an airplane. Now, when you look at the numbers of it, does that support it? Probably not. There's really no historical data to say this is why we selected 1,500 hours. Maybe 750 hours would be better. I don't know. But here's a problem with lowering it. So if you are the politician that lowers this rule or makes an amendment to this rule, and there is an accident, and that pilot happens to be one of the new pilots that come through with lower time, you basically just committed political suicide on yourself. So I can tell you that sleazebag politicians are not going to change it anyway. So I don't think this rule is going anywhere because of that factor. It is literally political suicide if your name is associated with removing the 1,500-hour rule or modifying it to a lesser experience, and then there is an accident. Okay, even if the accident doesn't have anything to do with the 1,500-hour rule, they probably would still become. It's basically political suicide. So as far as it getting changed, will I think it ever gets changed? Probably not. If you have a pure CFI versus a pure freight guy, they have different skill sets. Exactly, MK. So the CFI, and I'm kind of working backwards, right? So we talked about different levels of experience. I think freight is the best. There's a couple of things you can do. CFIs are the most common. That's the most common way to get your time. I do think being an instructor helps. There is no doubt in my mind that being an instructor helps when you move up to the airlines, because if you are required to teach somebody something, you also understand what it's like to be a student, right? Because you were a student pilot, now you're an instructor. Well, what happens when you go higher to your regional? You're now back to that student role. So you know kind of what the instructors have to go through, the instructor grind, teaching you about your new role as a regional first officer. So I think that experience is also valuable. Trying to read some of the comments as we go through. As a 20, I know 20-year-old 737 pilots over here in Europe. Yeah, I know they got them in Europe. Now in Europe, they have a way of becoming a pilot in Europe, from what I understand, and this would be a great topic to have with somebody live on here because I don't know the innards of European aviation, but from the basic information that I know is that in Europe, flying is the way you become a pilot is completely different, right? It is basically a step 1 program to a finish line program. You sign up or you get selected and you go from 0 all the way through to 250, whatever it is, hours, and you're in the right seat of an airline. You don't need an ATPL until you become a captain. So now basically the captains are playing training captain. I don't know if Europe has, I'm sure they have training captains and training captain pay and stuff. Or I don't even know if European pilots have unions. Is that a thing? Maybe you guys know, chat. I don't know. There's a lot of semantic stuff that unless you're on the inside, you really don't know. And I think that has a lot to do with this video from Mentor Pilot. He's not a US pilot, so he's speaking to what he thinks and what he knows is available through public information, right? But unless you're living U.S. aviation, you're in the industry and you're in the contract negotiations. You've seen how management has tried to pit the union against the pilots and back and forth and the fighting and everything you have to do to just become like contractually set to fly for that airline. There's a lot of stuff that happens on the innards that unless you're there, you don't really know it. And I think some of that is, I think I get some of that vibe from this video. But Flightdeck Sim would be the man to make that video. He got hired at 7.3, about 250 hours. Yeah. So the thing, I'm not saying that are you a bad pilot at 250 hours? No, absolutely not. Matter of fact, at 250 hours, I think I had my commercial. I thought I was the best pilot on the planet. Yeah, I got 250 hours, man. I got my commercial license. But if you, at 250 hours, you truly do not know what you don't know about aviation. And there is so much more experience to gain in the next 500, in the next 700 hours. 1,500 hours, that's just an arbitrary number. I don't know where they came up with it. Do I think it's right or wrong? I think it could be changed. I tell you right now, it's not going to get changed just from a political standpoint. But yes, it would be a great conversation to have with either Flight Deck to Sim or even Blackbox. I'd like to get Blackbox on and talk to him about it because he's been through it all. I mean, he's been flying before I've been flying. So I would love to get his inside take on it because then we can talk about like the innards of a pilot group. So I don't even know in Europe, do they have training pilots? Do they have sim captains? Are they all line pilots, or do they hire people to train their pilots that aren't on the seniority list? Like, these are all little things that our unions here in the US fight for and work for to protect us, the pilots, from management, because we don't, we're a workforce. We are a labor force. We're skilled labor. Pilots are skilled labor if you think about it. So there's a lot of stuff that's been sacrificed and worked hard on here within the unions of pilot groups to get what we have and the protections that we have. I don't know if that exists in Europe. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying I don't know, so I can't really speak to it. That's why I would love to have this conversation with someone who's actively in a foreign pilot. Now, as an example, I heard this too, and I think it was verified, but in that LATAM crash in Lima, those pilots were immediately arrested. Okay, that would never happen in the United States. Now, I know it's completely, you're talking about South America and North America here in the United States. Would they Lima crew? I don't even know sure what country they were from, but like that would never happen in the U.S. Even if it was the pilot's fault, if he drove off the runway and like hit vehicles, unless he was drunk and like under the influence, those pilots are not arrested. They'll be removed. The unions will protect them. They'll give them the information. They're going to have to go through a thorough investigation. And the whole time, the union is there trying to make sure everything is fair and equitable throughout the trial. In other countries, that doesn't happen. So you've got that to think about, too. And we can go on forever on this conversation. But like, I really want to do a watch along because it's hard for me to think about the tips or the points that Mentor makes. I don't remember them, but I remember as he made like his main point of the video at the end. I'm trying to remember what he said. Basically, like, we're missing a ton of good skills because there's a financial burden to getting 1,500 hours. I don't believe that is the problem. The problem is because nobody wants to become a pilot and get paid less than 30 grand a year when they have over $100,000 worth of debt. You pay them, they will come. Now that's changing here, it is changing in current times with regionals changing their pay scales and sign-on bonuses and things like that. It is changing. You're probably going to start seeing more and more pilots get hired. But for years, regional pilots literally got paid food stamp wages. I'm flying 6-7 legs a day in some of the most demanding aircraft, the demanding weather, in some of the largest airports in the country, and they get paid a tenth, a 12th, I mean, a literal fraction of a mainline counterpart. So you do that for years on end. Now you start really driving a divide between seasoned pilots and people who aren't pilots yet, and they don't want to take the plunge into aviation because who wants to spend over $100,000 in training and all the time away from home and the hardship that's going to be on you personally to get paid nothing until 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years down the road after that. So there's a lot that you can talk about and go back and forth. My end thoughts on this whole thing, like, is it worth the 1,500 hours? I believe it makes a difference. Absolutely. You need to. The cream always rises to the top, right? When you look at the cream and milk, like cream, everyone says that, the cream of the crop, right? Cream rises to the top. Does a 1,500 hour get all of the cream pilots to the top? No. Do pilots not make it because of other financial burdens and outside factors? Absolutely. Is that fair? No, it's not fair. It's an unfair world, unfortunately. But with that said, the rule does more good than harm. And I really think the easiest way to fix a lot of the problems and things you're saying is going right back to that. You pay them and they will come. So let me try to get back to some of the comments here. And we might have to do an off-stream reacts video to that, because I'm trying to remember what his points were saying, what Mentor was saying. Like, he made some very good points against the 1,500 hour rule, but you can also counteract those points. And at the end of the day, there is no substitute for experience. There really isn't. Is 1,500 hours the magic number? No, I don't think it is. Is it going to change? No, I don't think it will change. Was it an emotional rule that came into effect? Yes, it was. It really was. So it's just, it's kind of like those. That's kind of like that. You can almost, in a weird wraparound way, you can almost compare this to gun control in the United States. I'm a huge gun fan. I shoot guns all the time. If somebody told me, if I gave up all my guns right now, there would never be another school shooting in the United States of America as long as I live, I'd give them up. The problem is that's not reality. Okay, you don't want to live in a world that's not a realistic world. That's not going to happen. So the 1,500 hour rule, is it perfect? No. Is it going to change? No, it's not. The reality of it is it's not going to change. So let's see what some of y'all were saying here in the comments. Just to make sure we're not going to miss our total descent here. We're going to set 24, which is already set. We're looking good. Here's the thing. Before 1,500 hour rule, the ATP rule, FOs lived on food stamps. These young kids don't understand just how much good the rule has done for our profession. Matthew Presley makes a great point right there. So, and that kind of goes back to, the blood, sweat, tears, the sacrifice that our brothers and sisters in aviation have went through to get us the standards that we have today. Like, the standards that we have today are unmatched anywhere in the world. I don't care, like, wherever you want to come from, like, the standards that we have as pilots, we have it the best in the whole world. Like, being a pilot in the U.S., in my opinion, is the best country to be a pilot for. A couple weeks ago, I flew with a guy from South Korea, immigrated to the United States. He was flying for a major South Korean operator. He's like, no, the flying in the U.S. is much better. Months ago, I flew with, actually years ago now, one of my first trips as a captain, I flew with a 15-year first officer at WestJet. He moved to the United States to become a pilot in America. You know why? Because being a pilot in America is better than being a pilot in Canada for multiple reasons. So, but that didn't come out of nowhere. The fact of what we have here in the United States, it came from a lot of hardships and a lot of arguing and a lot of union work and strikes and all this stuff back and forth to get what we have. And this 1,500 hour rule, is it perfect? No. Does it help? Has it made the profession better for us that make it? Yes, it does. What is the best airport to buy and where to buy it? What's the best airport? INI LAX is pretty good. Pretty heavy on frames, though. Be careful. I was just going to say, CT enacted a 10-round magazine rule after Sandy Hook. Just an arbitrary number. No facts to support it if it makes anyone safer. Exactly, Andre. So, like, I'm not up here, trying to preach saying, oh, yeah, you have to have 1,500 hours or you're a bad pilot. No, I'm not saying that at all. The fact is, there's no substitute for experience. the market exists for low-time pilots to get 1,500 hours in the U.S. I'm not even sure, and I'm speaking to like Europe only. I'm sure there is a market for that. Maybe corporate flying. Do they even have freight flying? I don't know. Like, these are things that I would need to discuss with someone like Blackbox or Flightdeck to Sim. Like, because the market doesn't, if it doesn't really exist there to gain the experience, then the rule would make no sense to you as a foreign pilot looking at the U.S. But at the U.S., the opportunities to get those 1,500 hours are plentiful, especially now. I mean, I'm on several like pilot hiring pages. I see ads all the time for low-time pilots. Come seat right, seat here. Come seat right, seat here. The thing, and another part of this is, I'm really getting on a soapbox tangent, is the next generation of pilots. We live in the generation of now. We want everything now. We don't want to work for anything. We just want it instant. We want instant gratification. I don't want to work 1,500 hours. I don't want to do this for 15. I just want to go sit in the right seat of an Airbus. Unfortunately, that's not a reality. So there's XP. What's up, man? Somebody mentioned guns. I'm in. XP, what's up, my friend, dude? Absolutely. Hey, XP, if you're still here, man. So I wanted to show you something. There's this page that we have in our Airbus, my friend. It's called the flight control page. And after engine start, we do something called a flight control check. And when you do a flight control check, you're supposed to look at the position of the flight controls. Might have saved you on that. I was watching XP. I saw that stream where you took that beautiful 321 off into the drink there in we were in South Florida, Rainy Lauderdale. Absolutely loved it, man. Great stream. I was busy doing stuff around the house, but I had it up. I was laughing. Trust me, I was laughing hard with you. And I wound it back. Because I was like, did he do a flight control check? And the funny thing is, you totally did, but you did what we call just complacency. He's never had a flight control check failure, so yeah, just go through the motions. Full up, full down, full left, full right. Here we go, good to go. That's the dangers of complacency. But no, it was a good stream, man. Glad. Hope you're well. Hope everybody's good. Hope the hand of God is good, man. Hope you have a good day out there. We've lost the art of patience and grit. Jeremy, that's a great point, man. You're absolutely right, dude. Absolutely right, Jeremy. All right, let's do some work here. And what I'll do, you know what? I think we might have to do maybe I could do it on because my podcast, it's basically demonetized. So we can do a watch along on that Mentor Pilot video and do more about it, talk more about it. But at the end of the day, the reality is, like I said, I don't think it's ever going to get changed. And I think even Mentor mentioned that at one point. He's like, it would be, if your name was on that bill that changed that and there was an accident, forget it. So, all right, here we go. Just going through the motions here. XP72's flight control check is why we have the 1,500 hour rule. Oh, that's savage. That's savage. No, look, man, that's the thing. That is, it doesn't matter even what your time is on that, because that is complacency. Complacency will get anybody. It doesn't matter if you have 15,000 hours or 150 hours. Complacency kills all. So you have to constantly remind yourself, especially in a job like this, where you're doing several legs a day, everything's normal. It's very, very easy to become complacent on something stupid, like I'm not gonna look there for that, or I'm listening to what the air traffic controller is saying. I'm not really paying attention to what's going in the secondary. Then you pop an engine, you don't have a proper secondary flight. Little things like that can kill you. So complacency, man, huge deal. Oh man, don't even get started about age 67. Oh yeah, here we go. Warren says, I'm flying a FENIX A320 and Vibe Men 1 flashing 11.2. Oh, when do you start getting concerned? Warren, if it's flashing, what you need to do is disconnect the auto thrust and pull that engine back until the vibes go down. If the vibes do not go down and they don't stop flashing, you need to do an in-flight shutdown. But if you bring the power back, you can even idle it. You can idle it and continue on for a little bit, but I would definitely start looking at a possible diversion. Golden Gate will be on the left side of the aircraft. Yes. Let's set up the airplane here. I knew this flight would be too short to get into the 1,500 hour talk, because there's a lot we could talk about. But let's do our best here. Let's get next phase. All right, winds are 050 at 3. That's going in there. Temperature of 13. Beautiful day in Northern California. 3020 on the meter. More drag. Of course, 3020 is set. That looks good. Yeah, we're doing all right. You don't need more drag. How are we looking? 240 to 28. Oh, yeah, we need more drag. Wasn't lying. Speed breaks out. As a huge av geek, as soon to start training in a youth. As a huge av geek and soon to start flight training in a few years, I personally would love to fly an aircraft for however long for as many hours in whatever seat. There you go. It's a great attitude to have, Gear Up. If the vibes are bad, shut the party down. Here's the thing. It takes a year and a half to build 1,500 hours. Is it really too much to ask for someone to get a job for a year and a half to build experience in our industry? No, I agree with you, Matthew. I totally agree with you. And that's me going back to that market. You know, in the U.S., the market, there is ample opportunity to gain that experience. Are you going to gain a valuable lesson on every single flight that you do in a 172 up to 1,500 hours? No. But you might learn a valuable lesson on flight 1476 that you take with you, and maybe it saves an airplane one day. You know, so it's, you never know, and there's no substitute for experience. There really isn't. Are there good pilots at low time? Abso-freaking-lutely. There's great pilots at low time. But at the end of the day, those are exceptions to the rule, not majorities to the rule. Because with every flight you do, you need to still be learning, and you still need to be gaining experience, and you are gaining experience with every single flight you do, and there is no substitute for that. 28 right is what we're landing on, right? For SFO, 28 right, yeah, that looks good. 213 in the box. Year and a half to 1,500 seems ambitious. Seems more like 3 years. Well, here, it all depends on what you're flying, right? All depends. Let's go ahead and reset the bottom altitude. No, continue down. Remanage for descent. We'll just set 10,000 feet for now. Thrust idle descent nav. Heard that reversion chirp. That's because I went into vertical speed mode there for a minute. Let's go ahead and continue on down. We're gonna have to watch that video in a watch along and do it, because I can't even think about what I want to say, because I have to hear Mentor Pilot talk about it, and then I can counter the points better than trying to remember what he said. One thing more, if you want something more controversial, are pilots a dying breed? Yes, MK, they are. Absolutely are, dude. I'm actually, and here's the thing. This is what's ironic, in my opinion, and this, you're talking about stirring the pot. Really going to piss some people off with this. So, single pilot aviation is coming to commercial aviation. Single pilot aircraft are coming. Pilotless aircraft are coming. It's not going to stop. It's coming right now. I would bet you $100 that single pilot aircraft is going to start in Europe for commercial service. You know why? Because they lack the unionized strength at some not all. I'm not saying all airlines. I'm saying there are some airlines in the EU that lack that unionized strength. They basically say, the company says, this is what you get, deal with it or leave. That doesn't really exist in the US. In Europe it does. Single pilot professional aviation is going to start in Europe first. You watch. You watch. It is coming. Pilots are a dying breed, and yeah, it's going to happen. And I think it will. The first time you see it in the United States, I think you're going to see it freight. You'll probably see it with some type of Amazon pilotless airplane. You'll see it. Once I saw that 350 takeoff and taxi all by itself, I knew it was over. Yeah, it is happening. It will happen. I think my career's safe. You know, I've got a couple decades left. Like for my little girl who's almost 4 or 3, she's 3.5 now, if she wanted to become a professional pilot, I don't think this job will be there for her. That's how soon I think it will happen. So my 3-year-old wanted to become a commercial pilot, I don't think this job will exist for her. Maybe in some fashion, maybe single pilot, you know, but you're talking another 20 years, I don't know. It'll be drone based and all of us will be flying 329s. Ameriflight won't look at you today unless you have 750 hours. Good, Bigfoot Aviation. Good. Ameriflight, actually, they just lost a Metro, didn't they? So I flew cargo. And I said this before. Like, cargo, anybody who flies cargo to build time, they are the best pilots to step foot on the airline side. No doubt about it. You could like throw in military guys in there. Military guys know how to learn an airplane. Awesome. They suck at the 121 part of it until they get the handle of it, right? Because they're not subject to it. Their whole life, they are extremely regimented. So they are extremely sharp when it comes to systems, extremely well-skilled when it comes to hand flying, stick skill ability. When it comes to the basic stuff, like, hey, when do you call ramp control and pushback? That's stuff they got to learn. But freight pilots are some of the best pilots to step foot on the commercial side of aviation because, especially back in the day, single pilot, nighttime, worse weather, and nobody gives a crap if your airplane's half broken, you need to get the job done, it's on you. It is invaluable experience that you gain. Would it exist for me as a current 14-year-old? Yes, gear up, absolutely. You're talking, what, 10 years, be 24-year-old? Yeah, it's gonna be there, man. So in the U.S. especially, and what I mean like not there for her, I mean like long-term. Like she might be able to get a job. We'll set 3018 coming through transition altitude. Everything's look good. Like she might be able to get a job and get on with an airline. Will she have a full career up to 65, 67 years old? And in a 2-crew environment? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. So you recommend going freight and not CFI for hours? No, I recommend both, Flame. So the way it works, especially for like freight in the U.S., you need, as someone mentioned, about 750 hours. So if you instruct up to that 700-hour mark, 750-hour mark, and then head over and start flying freight for the next 300-400 hours, and you get some turbine time in there, shoot, man, you're golden. And I'll be the first to tell you, when I flew cargo, every day of my life I was like, this sucks. I hate this job. This is tough. You're up at the worst time. Like, nobody should be setting an alarm clock for 2:37 in the morning. I would wake up at 2:37. I'd have to be on the ramp at 0300, block out at 0330. And we only had one car, lived in an apartment. My wife would drive me at 2, so I lived about 5 minutes from the UPS ramp. She'd wake up at 2:37 with me, drive me to the airport. I'd go fly all day, come back. She'd pick me up at like 11:30 at night. Meanwhile, she'd go work a 9-to-5 job, pay the bills, because I wasn't making hardly anything to pay any bills. There's a Golden Gate coming in right there. That looks awesome. Yeah, it sucked. Is it fun? No, nobody likes to get up. But you know what? At the end of the day, looking back, it is the best experience that I've had in my career, and I would trade it for nothing. I would absolutely trade it for nothing. I feel like the stream, we totally changed vibes on everything here. I'm really not ranting. Really not ranting. I'm passionate about aviation. I love flying, and you know, it is what it is. Sounds like tugboating V1. Wife used to drop me off at 0200, 0300, 20. All okay. Yeah, exactly. Fly by wire. I hear you, man. How beautiful is this, though? It's I'd trade it for not 2:37 a.m. That's bedtime. I know, Team Vodka. Let's get Flight Recorder up. We're gonna have to do a after party stream, and we'll watch more. We'll watch more of that video, and we can. I feel like I can rant more on the after party because the members are more open. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of great comments on this video. The least toxic place on the internet is the YouTube comment section. Isn't that pretty cool? So I'm sure we're going to have some great comments on this stream. Sucks the day 4 engine airliners are essentially over. I know, Matt. 4 engine airliners are essentially over. They are. Corn Dog, what's going on, man? I'm not ranting, says the man who's been ranting for an hour. Ranting is the wrong word. I'm speaking passionately. Got a nice little haze over the bay. Let's get some power, please. Wait until the union busters catch this video. Exactly. You know what pisses me off, dude, Roscoe? So my company, they just hired one of the most famous union busters out there because we're in contract negotiation, right? Like, you know all about it, man, being in the unions and all that stuff. And I've got my own opinion when it comes to unions in general. As for aviation especially, I think it's more of a necessary evil because there's a lot of corruption within our union system. And I'm not speaking to all union systems out there. I'm sure yours is much better, but there's still a lot of corruption within the union system, and it's not perfect, but it's better than not having one. That's for sure. Ellen Ham, she's at P6. Speaking of freight, do you think about the accident where the tank slid to the back of the plane? You think the pilot could have stayed up pushing? No, you're talking about that 747. So I actually, I know quite a lot about that crash, and no, they did everything right. That 747, was it at a Bagram? Is that the one? Maybe it wasn't Bagram, but is that dash cam video? They even tried to roll it to get the nose down. The tie downs broke, the straps broke. There's nothing they could do to save that airplane. Absolutely nothing. Kako, what's up, man? Good to see you, dude. All right, we're sitting at green dot. That's a 250-hour pilot move right there. Let's go flaps 1, and let's go ahead and descend down to 6,000 or 5,000 feet. Thrust throttle open, descent down to 5. We're gonna branch out here, and then we'll come back in for the vector. It was Bagram? Yeah. Okay. Cool. That was tragic, man. So when that happened, I was flying with a guy who was best friends with the first officer on that airplane, and he was crushed, absolutely crushed. So aviation's a small community. That was a tragic accident, could have been avoided, but at the end of the day, those pilots, they did everything right. There was nothing that they could have physically done to save that aircraft. All right, we're going to fly heading 140. We're going to select speed 180, and we're going to do an open descent down to 5,000 feet. Thrust throttle, open descent down to 5. I'm going to kind of follow this traffic. We're going to extend the line off of the C-pin intersection, which is 105. We'll insert that. That looks good. We're at 10.4. That's close enough. Let's go ahead and light it up. We don't have any ATC on, so we'll get all the lights on, and then we will activate and confirm. Dunsky. Pool heading. There we go. Let's help the descent out. So we'll go flaps 2 here. With flaps 2, get a little bit more drag out there. A little speed brake action as well. Does the FMC in real life have an option to let you load a flight plan? Yes, it does. So depending on how your company sets up your box, a lot of times you can pull it out of your secondary. So when we call or when we go for a PDC or basically a digital clearance, we'll have an option that'll pop up here. We'll say activate secondary or uplink secondary, which is the flight plan, and then you can verify it. So there's multiple ways. It all depends on how the company that you work for sets up the McDo for data delivery and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely possible. Favorite domestic approach you've flown? I really love the Harbor Visual in Portland, Maine, man. That one's beautiful. I have not flown the Beaver yet. I really want to fly the that DC-3. I really want to try that DC-3 out. Oh, let's go ahead and make a left turn here at about 110 is good. We'll stack in behind this guy. Are you a betting man? What are the odds to get a contract before January? None. Unfortunately, I don't know. I'm gonna remain hopeful because it's the holiday spirit, and I want to be hopeful. But I don't. Maybe I'm just a negative Nancy. I just don't foresee it happening. I really wanted to. I'm not saying I would love it. It would actually help me out with some other decisions that I'm trying to make, and I just don't know, man. I just don't know. 1,000 to go. Let's come left, heading to 090, set us up for a modified base leg to final here. 090 on the heading, 1,000 feet to level off. C-pin is actually at what, 3,000? Let's step down to 4. We'll keep on coming down to 4,000. Trying to fly with radios on the DC-3 is so complicated. Big question. Cowboys, which Cowboys team will show up Thursday? Oh, yeah. We never even talked football on this stream. You guys got me all distracted with other stuff. Here's the problem, Fubar. Because the Cowboys showed up and decimated the Vikings on Sunday, history would show that they're not going to be able to repeat that performance. So, it would be 100% Cowboy-esque to lay an egg. So, it would be totally characteristic of the Cowboys to lay an egg on Thanksgiving. Because I don't know if they can deliver on a consistent basis. And then don't even get me started on Jets football. I'm still pissed. Maybe that's why we were ranting this whole stream, because probably one of the worst losses in Jets history, in like maybe since the butt fumble. Since the butt fumble, it was the toughest game I've ever watched as a New York Jets fan was on Sunday. Ever since the butt fumble. Aviation Blase, thanks for the continued support, man. Kako, yeah, I got other opportunities lined up, ready to execute, but it's I don't want to. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to. I want to stick it out. But the lack of motivation and with everything on the horizon, I just don't know, man. San Francisco traffic, United 357. We're 4,000 feet, about 16 miles to the east of San Francisco. We're joining the ILS 28 right. San Francisco. All right, we'll set 3,000 feet. That vector was a little off. We'll set 330. Arm the approach. Need our LS push buttons on. That's a 250-hour pilot move right there. That's why Airbus invented that flashing ILS button at you. All right, 3.8 for 3. Glide slope blue, low blue, Cat 3 dual, autopilot 1+2. We're joining the approach. Replay is ready. Throttletek cam is on, and Fly Live is working again. That's interesting, so let's enjoy this flight, shall we? Great stream as always. Jeff L, thank you.
We are 626 miles out.
For anybody who's joined the stream post-live and you're like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Why is he saying all this stuff? I apologize. It's not typically like me to go on talk about the things we talk about today. Hopefully you stick around and watch future videos. Cameras for approach. Yes, cameras are online now. But thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it, man. It's going to be tight right here. I'll join. I'll start the replay as soon as we hit the low here. Team Vodka. 20 gifted subs. Team Vodka. You savage, man. Thank you so much for the support. Welcome to Team Green. Everybody who picked up a gifted sub from Team Vodka, make sure you shout out, say thank you to him. You get access to the V1 After Dark channel, V1 After Dark content, and quite possibly a V1 After Party rant stream coming at you here after this one's over. We'll see what happens. But appreciate you. Team Green for the win. Vodka, you're awesome, man. Thank you so much, dude. Appreciate you. I will pause the alert box for the duration of this approach because it will just be digging all the way down. So look at that. How cool is that? That's a United joining parallel approach. I don't know if you did that on purpose or not, but this is going to be epic. Recording is online. 20 new members to the Circle of Thrust. Oh, did I add that emoji? I didn't yet. We have a Circle of Thrust emoji. I will add it, indeed. We're all green today in the chat. Look at that. Chat's all green. Smash down that like button. Beautiful San Francisco approach here. Glide slope star 3000 is set for the go-around. We are flaps 2, 6.6 on the fuel. United 357, call the ball. Fly Live is stuck again. I'm going to leave it on. I'm going to see if it gives a landing rate. Let's see what happens, Chaos. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I don't know if this is a Sim Update 11 thing or what, but I'm going to see if it pops a landing rate on, even though the overlay, the progress bar is stuck. Is this guy going around? What's this guy doing? Thank you, Catco. Appreciate you, man. What do you think, dude? I don't know if I responded up there. You think we're going to see something before January? That's interesting. Fubar, yeah, I forgot to add it, dude. I'll definitely add it. United 357 Airbus ball, 6.6. Yep. That, my friends, does not look good. Mayday, mayday, mayday. What's going on down
Here's some the traffic United 693.
Alberto says, I'm not trying to kiss up, you will be better. Hey, Alberto, thanks, dude. I appreciate you, man. We're getting a TCAS here. I'm supposed to be climbing, but we should have RVSM, so we should be good. Yeah, you don't want to see that. Alberto, I appreciate your support, man. I think is he responding to the RA? If he's on 28 left, we should be totally fine, because you can do PRM approaches into San Fran. If he's on 28 left, hey United, you on 28 left?
Yeah, I'm on 28 left.
All right, cool deal. All right, we should. Oh boy, we are too busy watching United. Gear down. VFE next minus 10, flaps 3. Right at VFE next. This is going to be spicy. Stable by 500. Let's do this, folks. Flaps full, speed brakes, arm.
Clear of conflict.
Check. 250-hour move.
1,000.
I can see it already. We're going to need a emoji for 250-hour moves. Basically like pilot error. We just call it 250 hours. That'll really piss people off. Stable by touchdown, exactly, Team Vodka. Look at that. We're stable by... Look at that. We're stable by 800 feet. Shoot. We're on it. Autopilot's coming off. Let's do this. I don't have a good San Fran, do we? Why does my sim look unusually poopy right now? Sim update 11. Maybe it's just San Francisco looks unusually poopy. I feel like I'm back in X-Plane. 9.
500.
2 whites, 2 reds. Frames are good, though. Yeah, my settings definitely changed. Either that or data might be off.
100 above.
That's right. We're going to grease this landing right here. We're going to go for the butter. This runway's like...
Minimum.
Even if we float it, I'll show you where I used to park my little 99s. The DHL ramp.
100.
6 knot quartering tailwind. Hello.
50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 5.
Oh, yes. That's the juice. Spoilers. Reverse screen. Decel. Oh. Am I flying FSX? When did we switch streams? Did you guys switch my simulator during all my ranting? We're in FSX now? 70 knots. Good night. This looks awful. This looks awful. But that was a good touchdown, though. I don't care what FlyLive says. Alright, we're actually going to hold short because we don't want to get T-boned by this United here. And my frames are tanking. Was it 20 foot per minute? Oh yeah, I'll take that. Absolutely. Wow, he basically drifted off the runway. San Francisco traffic in 357. We're clear of 28 right, crossing 28 left to the ramp, San Fran. Alright, let's go ahead and continue to cross. We won't reconfigure just yet.
Clear right 3 left. I can clear around the alpha.
DLSS is off. I still have TAA on. Maybe it's just this airport that looks awful. See, now it looks good. Like I can see everything in the hills and everything looks good. That was weird. We're gonna do some investigating on my settings. There might be some stuff that got changed from all the settings and like remember we had the sim update and then all the data flicking on and off. My data might even be off. Yours got reset after sim update 11, Richland? Alright, I will check mine because yeah, that's pretty terrible. I think it's time for the 4090. Hey Max, since we just recently got out of a housing contract that we were going to spend an ungodly amount on interest, I think I might buy myself a new rig. I'm going to buy myself the Q8 rig. You guys seen Q8 Pilot's new computer? Absolutely awesome. We're going to call it the Q8 rig. Alright, let's go ahead and taxi the ramp. Strobe lights can come off. I think the airplane's still moving. Somebody make an external light panel. Let's stop the recording. Yours were reset and sim up there, 11? Oh yeah, then I'm sure mine got reset too. Great. So let's just go park over here. Let's come to the right. We'll park over here at one of these unknighted gates over here. And then we'll watch the replay. I'll investigate my settings. And if you're a member of the channel, get a little extra content today. A little extra spice. One core performance. I'm glad I bought last year at 2%. Yeah, so that's the other thing. Our current house, our mortgage is 2%. 1.9, dude. Crazy. I'd wait for AMD Ryzen. You lost me at AMD, Chaos. You lost me at AMD, brother. What kind of line is this? Oh, this is an RJ gate. We can't park here. Abort, abort. Yeah, you see that? Like a tremendous stutter. What, hold on, let me get rid of the... Sometimes, I wonder if the cameras do it. We'll park on this one right here. Is this a handcrafted? If this is a handcrafted, I need to stop flying to handcrafted airports. This has got to be a handcrafted airport. I normally avoid them. I did that last minute stream change today, so I apologize. I might just have to delete this stream from my channel. Everyone's going to judge me. I can see the comments now. Well, this guy's not even a real pilot. I don't know what he's talking about. Look at that. 5 FPS. X-Plane 11, where are you at? Dude, Microsoft sucks. I'm pretty sure my 3-year-old can handcraft this airport better. Sounds are good, though. Sounds are freaking awesome. Alright, brakes are set. I'll spare you guys all the shutdown and stuff. Let's just get into the replay because I'm getting ready to Alt F4. We might do an After Dark in X-Plane 11. No, definitely not undersigned. It's just my voice. So that combined with, you know, my voice and everything we've been talking about, I'm sure it sounds that way, but trust me, I'm not, brother. Alright, replay mode. Let's do this. Maybe it'll look better on the replay. Alright, hold on. Pause. What is going on here? Let's, since we're in replay mode, TAA is on. Does that, what is that this? What's going on here? Why are you down to 1? Okay, so something did get, I normally run this at 250. I don't even know anymore if I have to go back and watch. Oh, I'm still on VATSIM. Oh, I'm going to stay on VATSIM though so I can be parallel with this guy. Resume replay. Here we go. Turn reflex low latency on. What's reflex low latency? A reflex low latency. On plus boost. I'll just do on. Oh, that looks better already. No, I think photogrammetry is on. Yeah, those settings were all whack. VT Jake, what's going on, man? Good to see you, dude. How about data tab for photogrammetry? Hey, don't worry about my photogrammetry. Worry about your Giants on Thursday, brother. But, I don't know if you caught it earlier. I was saying the Cowboys would be totally like them to lay an egg primetime slot on Thanksgiving. Q8 Pilot has good performance setting video for Sim Update 10. Andre, yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it and go through it again because those settings were definitely different from what I had. Settle Giant slander, got you, man. Well, I can't believe there's still 383 people watching, so thank you all for watching this video. I guess you were mildly entertained. It's all in fun. It's all in fun here. Let me go ahead and try to turn off my lights so they don't look like, nope. Don't look like a hawker coming in with the pulsating landing lights. But thank you all for hanging out with me today. Despite some technical difficulties, despite my voice, despite our topics of discussion. Oh, this looks so much better. This looks so much better already. Building a Threadripper 3990 for home will replace a couple of servers. Can't go wrong with AMD. Mossmid AMD, brother. Here we go. Maybe one day Microsoft Flight Sim will have a UI. I know, Jeff. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Jake. The Microsoft UI is pretty terrible, no doubt. Spicy streams are the best streams. Appreciate you, man. Calvin Parker, thank you, man. Glad you enjoyed the stream. Don't see anybody. Let's go ahead and disconnect from that so we don't throw anybody off here. I mean, is it? The winds must have been dead calm in San Fran because there is not even a ripple on the water. Nice hazy approach though. Oh, there's a little bit of ripple down there. Good news, if you have 4000 series video card, you don't need a furnace in the winter. True story, man. Shoot, even my 3090, dude. 3090. You put the 3090 in the V1 HQ with poor air conditioning and ventilation, it gets up to like 95, 97 degrees. I show up to the office with long pants and a hoodie, and by the end of the stream, I've got shorts on and the wife beater. Did have a 6-knot quartering tailwind, Chaos, you're right. Not really seeing that reflected on the water. I think that might just be a Microsoft thing. Parking brake is not off. It is now. Thank you. That looks so much better, though. Yeah, that looks so much better. Some of those settings were definitely off. So much better. Here's the infamous seawall. Ooh, a stutter there on the replay. Nice little quartering tailwind. Oh yeah, we went for the butter on that one. We went for the butter on that one. Awesome. Love the fall trees. Back it up. Let's see how we did on the outside view. AMD isn't a very good product, but NVIDIA hasn't exactly filled me with confidence lately. The last 40 series pretty obvious from what again. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just. The only reason I don't do AMD is because a long time ago, all I wanted to do was play one game, and I couldn't do it because I had an AMD video card. And after that, I said never again. I think I was like 12, 14. Didn't quite look like a 20, but right on center line. That was bang on center line from Crossman. I said it before. The FENIX right now, guys, like the way the FENIX hand flies, especially in like some of these windier conditions, not so much on this approach, but they have absolutely got the flying part down right now. I'm loving the way the FENIX flies. Like with the rudder inputs to straighten out on center line. It feels really good. Yeah, Peter Green, there was a 777 right there. I was actually supposed to fly into San Fran on that day. All right. We're going to get the sail going. I'm going to leave you guys with a couple more replays. Thank you so much for liking this video. We've got more likes and viewers. It's always good to see that at the end. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Sorry for the last-minute stream change, the technical difficulties, all topics of discussion. Remember, it's all in fun and games here.
500.
You guys are absolutely awesome. Thank you so much for your support. Callie Simmer, Santana, Team Vodka, all the other super chats, Alberto D, C2A. If I missed your name, I apologize. It's just that's all I can read there on my screen, and then that goes off the screen. So thank you guys so much. Appreciate the love and support. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day wherever you're watching from. We'll be back, I think, tomorrow. I think we'll be back tomorrow. We'll be back tomorrow with much happier vibes, right? I mean, I'm happy, but I'm sure everyone else is going to have something to say about this one.
100.
Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. I'm V1. See us in
50,
chat.
40,
See ya.
30, 20, retard.